Okay, so this is going to be a quick tutorial on how we build our capsule or cargo bay for our parachute drop. But first, I want to go over some basics of rulers and the tape measure that I sent home to you because there's some differences. If you look at a ruler, you'll see between the inches, so 4 and 5 inches, there's 16 little marks. Okay, that tells me that this ruler is broken down into 16ths of an inch. Okay, 1/16. So each one of these marks is 1/16. Now, the tape measure I sent home about that. There are only 8 marks between the inches. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So this tape measure is broken down into 1/8 inches. So each one of those marks is 1/8. For on our ruler, it's 16ths. So if you're watching the tutorial video and you're trying to count the marks in the ruler when I mark the paper, just make sure you're either using, if you're using the tape measure I sent home, it's broken down in eighths. If you're using a ruler, most rulers are broken down in 16ths. Okay? With this video, I believe I'm going to incorporate it on a slideshow, and that will have step-by-step directions as well, so you can always either back up the video or go to the individual steps to see what we're doing. So the first step is we need to divide our 6x6 poster board that was sent home in the materials package. It might not be exactly 6 inches, but that's going to be okay. It'll still work out. Okay. So you'll notice also on my ruler that I have a little gap here between where it begins and the edge of the ruler. So you want to make sure you're paying attention to that. If you're using a ruler, sometimes they do that. Sometimes they begin right at the edge. The tape begins right at the edge, so the edge is the beginning of that first inch. What I want to do is I want to mark approximately the center of this piece of poster board. Where I put the little 2 marks doesn't really matter, because what I'm doing is I'm going to use those for references for a vertical line. So you'll see how I know it's a little difficult to see with the brightness. I have a mark here, a mark here. I'm going to put the edge of my ruler on those marks. I'm going to go ahead and draw my line. So that's my first line. That's called a vertical line. It goes up and down. I'm measuring from the edge of my poster board over 3 inches. I can put 2 marks, I can put 3 marks. What I can't do is put just 1 mark, because the 2 marks are going to line my line up, making a nice straight line parallel with the edge of our cardboard or perpendicular to the bottom of our cardboard. The next line I want to draw, I'm going to draw at 2 5/8. So again, I want to make a mark. This is going to be a horizontal line. So I'm just, because I can't move everything around, I'm kind of twisting the cardboard. I realize that a little bit here. Okay, so 2 5/8. It's really difficult to see. I'm so sorry about that. Maybe I should use a marker on this. Might be a little bit easier to see. Yeah, much easier. So 2 5/8. And again, I want to put my ruler on those 2 marks and draw a line. This is a horizontal line. So it's 2 5/8 from the bottom, so it's parallel with the bottom of our cardboard here. perpendicular to the side. So now we have kind of a plus sign on our poster board here. Okay, the next step is to measure 5 1/4 on the vertical line. So I want to put 5 1/4. Oops. There you go. 5 1/4. I want to make a mark at the top here. Okay. So on our vertical line now, from the base of the cardboard, or the bottom, up to 5 1/4, I want to make a mark. That's all I want to do. I just want to make a mark. I don't want to do anything else there. That's just a reference point. So I know I'm kind of turning this around. I really apologize, but I just have a limited amount of area to work with here, so I have to kind of manipulate the cardboard. The next thing I want to do is I'm going to draw a diagonal line that's going to be about 6 inches long. And it's going to go from the corner to that mark that we just made. Okay? So, from the corner here to that mark we just made. This line here is about 6 inches long. I want to do the same thing to the other side. And remember, you can back up at any point or pause and do, make your marks and make your lines. You can certainly pause the video. Okay. So if I look at this, what I have now is I have what we call an equilateral triangle, right? And all sides are 6 inches. I want to break that down into 4 equilateral triangles. So from the point where we intersect the line here and here to this point here, this base here, I'm going to draw a line. And again over here. Okay. So all these line segments should be 3 inches. We're pretty close. So if I were to take and measure that, it's about 3 inches. Measure these diagonal lines here, they're about 3 inches. So what we've created out of our 6-inch equilateral triangle is we've created 4 3-inch equilateral triangles within it. Okay, so the next step is to cut it out. Now we have one triangle. So what we want to do is we want to fold along these lines, okay? Now it might not come out perfect, it's going to be okay. But see how I'm taking this point, taking this point here, I'm going to fold it over so it touches this point here, like so. I want to make sure I fold that down real well. Okay. And I want to take this point here, right here, and fold it over to this point here. And then finally I want to take this point here and fold it over to the bottom. Okay, so now we end up with a 3-dimensional equilateral triangle, or pyramid actually, made up of 3-inch equilateral triangles. Okay, So we're going to set that aside for right now. So we need to have weight in our cargo bay. The easiest thing to do is to make the weight with some pennies. Pennies are about 2.5 grams each. And the weight we need in our cargo bay is about 28 grams. But our capsule liner is about half a gram. Then we add the string and the tape and everything. It'll be pretty close to 28 grams. Okay. So we have our 11 pennies. I know the masking tape that I sent home is a little bit difficult to work with as far as peeling it off of there. I get that. Just do the best that you can. Or you can use Scotch tape, or you can use electrical tape, or whatever you have at your disposal. I just want to make sure you have some kind of tape. So I'm going to take these. Okay. And make a little stack of pennies. And we don't want things moving around in our cargo bay, so I'm going to take a piece of tape here. I want to wrap our pennies. A little piece of tape. Alright. Now we have a 27.5 gram weight cargo. Okay. So I want to set that aside right now. One of the tricky things that we're going to have to do is make holes. Okay. Now, if you have a hole punch, that's great. Use the hole punch. All right. But I know a lot of people don't have hole punches at home, and I couldn't buy enough hole punches just for this project to send home to everybody. So we're going to have to figure out a way to do it. Now, there's a couple of ways we can do this. I don't really want you to use a knife or even a pair of scissors, because I'm afraid you'll cut yourself, and I don't want, obviously, that to happen. I do have a little screwdriver. You'll notice that I made a little stack of, I took a paper towel. You can use napkins. You can use something soft. You want to get something soft underneath your capsule, okay? And then, like I said, I got a little Phillips head screwdriver. I'm just going to kind of put that down there and just kind of work it back and forth a little bit, okay? And you see I'm starting to make a little hole there. So now I might be able to pick it up and kind of just push that through. Okay. Another way to make a hole maybe start with a pin, a sewing needle, something that you can poke through the cardboard, but again, I want you to be able to put something underneath it, and then you push down so you're not pushing it into your hand or something along those lines. Kind of work that pin back and forth a little bit. We'll get a pretty good size hole there. You know, if you need to make it a little bit bigger, which probably would be good, is take a pen or a pencil, kind of work it in there. Any number of things, you know, just try to make that hole a little bit bigger. I know that the one I'm using in my demonstration has a nice big hole that's made with a hole punch, and unfortunately, we don't always have those at home, so okay. Make sure that the hole's big enough that my string can pass through later. Okay. Okay, so we want to do one more hole. And push it down. So don't between our fingers. So, alright. And then I want to secure my, lay this down, I want to secure my cargo. I'm going to lay it on that side. I can stand it up however I want to, but we're going to have to tape it in place. Okay, so our cargo's nice, held in there nicely, right? So it's not falling off. That's really important because when we drop these, we want to make sure that doesn't break loose. That's one of the things that we're going to use in our data analysis. I know the light and the white cardboard are really reflecting in the light here. So, okay. So before we tape these, I want you to take. I did not send string home, so hopefully you can come up with some string, thread, something along those lines to hold our parachute to our capsule. A little trick of your string. See how my string's coming undone here. So I'm going to take a piece of tape and put on there. Hopefully you don't have the same issue. Cut that off. Okay. I'm going to cut the excess tape off. That's going to make it easier for me to thread through. Okay. So I'm threading through these two, and then I'm going to come around from the outside to this one. Okay? So going from outside into the inside to the outside, and then coming back around and going in this way. Okay? Alright. Kind of just pull those tight, like so. Pull them tight like so. Alright. Then we just want to kind of dangle that thread. What we want to do next is tape our capsule closed. Now I'm going to ask you in class to maybe decorate your capsules a little bit. It just makes the project a little, I don't know, I think it makes it a little more fun. You can personalize your capsule or cargo bay here. Okay, now we have a cargo bay. Now, what I would do is tie that. Do it a second time. End up a little square knot down the inside there. Then I would take your string, okay? Take your string, put a little loop in it, okay? Pull the strings through, okay? And just pull tight, and then we can cut the excess string off. And then we have that, we'll attach our strings that go up to our parachute. We'll attach onto that loop later, okay? So we have this loop going down to the capsule. Now, if you want to, this is, you know, I guess, make it look a little nicer if you'd like. You can always kind of reinforce the edges and reinforce the top a little bit if you want to take a piece of tape and put it up there, wrap it around. And go to the other side. I do only because I like the top to be nice and closed. Okay. I don't know how I'm going to demonstrate this, but I should be able to then take my spring scale, hook it onto our string here, and then when I lift it, it should be about, and I don't know if I can do that or not. It doesn't look like it, but when I lift it, my spring should be pulled down to about the 28 gram mark. 28 or 30, you know, right in that area. These are, I think, 200, 500 gram spring scale, so it's not going to move the scale a whole lot. Okay, and it's not really supposed to. Okay. And that's how we make our capsule that we're going to attach our different design iterations of parachutes. We'll probably start out with something very basic and then try to go from there. I hope this is helping. I'm going to post this. Okay.